Welcome to the Fit Dad Nation podcast, forging strong fathers and raising a stronger generation. It's time to get up or shut up with your host, Steve Roy.
Hey guys, this is Steve Roy, host of the Fit Dad Nation podcast. Welcome to the show. I appreciate you listening here. And so today I want to talk about some things that you can do, incorporate into your life that will help keep you or get you fit and healthy in your middle age or so. You know, specifically for guys over 40. And I would say that probably a lot of you listening to the show are either getting close to 40 or are older than 40. I am 48, I'll be 49 this year. And so I picked up, a number of different things, and I've had to do some research and do my homework as far as how to take care of my body at this age, because it's just not the same. And there's a lot of conflicting information out there. There's a lot of advice, which I'll get to in a second. But before I do, just want to briefly invite you to apply to one of our groups. So we've got a pretty great free Facebook group called the Fit Dad Base Camp, where we do a lot of stuff in there to help dads either get fit, stay accountable, and just be part of a like-minded tribe. So you can apply to that group at fitdadnation.com/community. And that I'm really only looking for guys to join that are serious about making some changes. You know, if you're just looking to check a box and join yet another fitness group or dad group, just don't. We've got enough guys in there already that aren't doing shit. So I don't want guys that aren't ready to get to work. So if that's you, awesome. I would love to have you. It's going to be a big year for me coming up. Not this year, but next year, where I'll be turning 50, and that's pretty significant. To me, that kind of defines the crossover between, still being kind of a young guy in my 40s to 50. It's just kind of a cutoff for me, and it's kind of scary. And I know age is just a number. Like I honestly totally understand that. Because, it really is. It's all in your head, right? If you think you're old, you're old. If you think you're young, you're young. And there's a lot of things you can do to take care of your body so you feel young. So I shot a video about this years ago, like probably 4 years ago at least. And so I wanted to just expand on it a little bit and share some thoughts and things that I've learned about how to take care of your body, how to train when you're up into your 40s and beyond. So there's something called sarcopenia, which basically means you're losing your muscle mass, muscle tissue, right? And typically at middle age, most men will start losing about 3% of their muscle mass every year. Now, middle age is kind of a loose term. Some say 40, some say 50, depending where you read. But, for the sake of this conversation, let's just say it's 40. So with that knowledge, right, so if we're dropping 3% of our muscle mass every year, right, that affects a lot of things. And so if you're not actively exercising and training to either keep or increase that, you're gonna experience some issues over time. It can lead to a whole host of things. I would say the most important, I won't say the most important, but one of the most important things we can do as men in our 40s is hit the weights. So this doesn't mean you need to become a gym rat. This doesn't mean you have to spend 2 hours in the gym. You don't have to train like you did back in the day when you were in your 20s. So that doesn't even make any sense. So I would say that, as far as exercise, and obviously we already know the benefits of exercise. Across the board, there's no sense in talking about it, but we tend to overcomplicate things. We want to find some kind of fancy program, and there's a million out there. Obviously, I sell my own. We have our own stuff here. But I would say for the vast majority of men, unless you are a former elite athlete or a bodybuilder, I would say a 3 to 4 day a week strength training program is absolutely perfectly fine. And I would say, instead of getting caught up in the minutia and trying to nickel and dime your sets, your reps, your tempo, all that stuff, pick 5 or 6 exercises, and I would honestly stick with compound movements, meaning you're involving multiple joints, multiple muscles at the same time, kind of getting the most bang for your buck instead of isolation curls or tricep dips off a bench, lateral raises. You're going to just use bigger movements. So if you follow a program based on pushing, pulling, squatting, hinging, and carrying, you really can't go wrong. Push-ups or a bench press. pull-ups or rows, squatting, any kind of squatting, goblet squatting, whatever, hinging, any kind of deadlift or swing, like a kettlebell swing, and then carrying heavy shit, right? Pick up heavy weights and carry them. That's actually all it is. So, pick, 5 or 6 exercises. Full body program is fine. You don't have to split it up. When you start getting a little more advanced and you've been doing it for a while, sure, you can split it up or lower. You can split it into body parts. But I found that full body workouts work tremendously well. And keeping your workouts short is key, right? We just don't have the stamina. And I'm kind of generalizing here, but a lot of us don't have the stamina, the muscular endurance. And we just don't have the time to spend, an hour and a half in the gym, so making things most effective, as effective as you can, makes just a lot of sense. And that's why, doing these compound movements, hitting them hard, keeping your rest periods, moderate, minute, 2 minutes between sets, something like that. I like to piggyback my exercises. Actually, I like to do 2 exercises back to back and then rest. Saves a little bit of time, and it seems to work just fine. And you can be in and out of the gym in 45 minutes, and I don't think, you need any more than that. Can you? Sure. If you can handle it, absolutely. If you like it, sure, why not, right? Some people love being in the gym. But me, I actually do like being in the gym, but I'd rather do other stuff. I don't particularly like the environment. So, I like the idea of working out. I like pushing myself. I just don't like being around a lot of people in the gym. This is kind of, where I'm at. So I want to get out of there. So I hit it hard and I hit it fast. I get my whole body and I'm out of there, 3-4 days a week. And that's plenty for most. You can also just use some body weight training. The body weight training is phenomenal, right? A lot of us don't even have the strength to do 1 pull-up. A lot of us can't do more than, 3 or 4, 5, 10 push-ups, okay? And that's not okay in my opinion, right? And it's not a dig on anybody. It's just, we've let our lifestyles and, dictate our lives for so long, and our environments, have dictated our lives. And yeah, we're weak, we're soft, we're deconditioned. We don't, we lack endurance. And so, yeah, that's a problem. So a lot of people and a lot of guys that have especially been off for a long time, and I see that a lot, guys that haven't been training consistently for years, 10, 15, 20 years, bodyweight training is fine. You don't need to jump back into a full set of bench presses and heavy dumbbell rows, stuff like that. Bodyweight stuff using a TRX, a suspension trainer, just get on the ground. That works extremely well. So that's number 1, I would say, is absolutely make a priority strength training. If you're a runner, you can use that to supplement it, but don't think running is doing anything for you as far as helping with your either your bone mineral density or your lean muscle tissue. It's not. I would say, if anything, it's breaking it down, plus it's fucking up your joints over time. It's really hard on your body. If you love running, run, right? People have talked about a runner's high. I don't get it. I have always hated running. I don't feel good running. It hurts. If you love it, stick with it. It's fine with me, but, there are much better ways to go about exercising if your goal is to add lean muscle or lose fat. With that said, I will tell you that something that's so important that so many guys, and I've been coaching for 23 years, and I've seen this, God knows, more than probably anything else, is men hate to stretch. Why? Because it's boring, right? It's boring. And I get it. I don't even like to do. I teach it. I shoot content. I create content. I have videos all the time, but it's boring, right? Because it's slow. It's uncomfortable, right? You're moving in ways that your body's not used to moving, and it doesn't like it. And, for me, I like to move fast. I like to move from one thing to the next. Like I can't handle yoga. It's phenomenal for your body, but it's too boring. I did a float tank once where I went into one of those deprivation chambers where it's pitch black, no sound, nothing, and you float in a tank of heavily salted water where you're suspended in the water, and your idea is just to relax all your muscles and just kind of be in the silence. And it was miserable. Miserable for me. So much so that I got out maybe after 30 minutes of an hour session, and got out, checked my phone, took a shower, got the hell out of there, because I couldn't just sit still. And that's my issue. But I've seen a lot of men that's the reason, right? I mean, just today, I was at the gym this morning with a couple of clients, and I saw a guy at least my age, maybe even a little bit older, walked in off the street, and it's cold out, took his jacket off, went right over to the curl machine, and he starts just loading up the bar and starts curling. No warm-up, nothing. And so that's extremely common. And so everything that I teach, any program that I've ever written requires, or at least heavily recommends, a warm-up. So if you're not warming up before your workouts, you're really doing a disservice to your body because it's so critical. So there's a couple different components to a warm-up. One, a general warm-up. That's typically 5 minutes or so, 5 or 10 minutes, whatever, on some kind of cardio machine, treadmill, elliptical, rower, step, or whatever. That's just to get your heart rate up, sweating a little bit, right? Then you get into a dynamic warm-up, which is even more important, which is the specifics, right? I do like A-skips and lateral lunges, butt kickers, and stretches that actually you're moving throughout. So it's not static stretching. So you're moving, warming up all your muscles, your hips, your shoulders, your back, your lower back, your thoracic spine area, all right, your calves, doing a little maybe bouncing or jumping, right? Those things are extremely important for guys our age. So you're just opening yourself. I'm not saying you will get injured, but you're absolutely opening yourself up to injury if you're not doing that. And 5 to 10 minutes is plenty. As long as you got a light sweat, you actually feel like you're warmed up, like the last thing you want to do is just walking off the street and grab a couple of dumbbells and start benching or whatever. That's just crazy to me. We could do it when we're 22, 42, not so much. So extremely important. Foam rolling, another very overlooked, even though it's gotten a lot of publicity. It's pretty popular now. There's 1,000,001 foam rollers out there now, every shape and size and texture. Do it. I've got plenty of free routines on my YouTube channel. Spend 5 minutes. I typically do this even before the warm-ups. This is the first thing that I'll do. And just spend 5 minutes on the ground. Don't overdo it. And that really helps to break up some of that those knots in the soft muscle tissue. And for a lot of us that have been sitting for a very long time or kind of sedentary, it's a big help. And it hurts. It's uncomfortable. And at some points, certain parts of your body are painful. But that's just your way, your body's way of telling you, hey, I need more work. Massage is overlooked for sure. I go as much as I can because our bodies need it, right? We just spent so many years, a lot of us, sitting, driving, inactive. And so, having someone that knows what they're doing, work on your body to kind of release some of those trigger points and those really tense areas can actually really add a lot to the quality of your life and longevity. And then, walking a lot, moving as much as possible. Absolutely. I mean, I can't say this enough. Walking is a tremendous exercise. It's not going to do a lot as far as, burning fat. It does burn calories, of course, but it's just a great exercise for heart health and general health. And that's important, obviously. And then I will say that a routine, a dedicated block of time, and I would say no more than 10 minutes is necessary. And I would try to do this every day, specific mobility work. Now, this is different than the warm-up. This is different than what I was talking about, right? A mobility routine. And in our programs, this is factored into it because, I cater to men in their 30s, 40s, and 50s. And people don't do it. I mean, people are just not doing the mobility. Even when it's in the programs, they're still not doing it. But I'm telling you right now, I just came off of a 45-day challenge. And I've talked about this already as far as my results. By the way, I lost 15 pounds in 45 days, eating clean diet and training every day. But that's beside the point. I did it every single day. I spent about, I would say on average, 8 minutes doing mobility, hip openers, thoracic spine extension. I mean, groundwork, a lot of it. But, ideally, we're just trying to work the range of motion and get your body moving in ways that it was meant to move, but it just hasn't in so long that, how many times have you just trying to get up and your lower back is just super sore, your hamstrings lock up, or your glute muscles are super tight? How have you noticed, your shoulders are just rounding forward and your head jutting forward because your shitty posture, right? Mobility is going to help to work on those, strengthen those muscles and correct that. Absolutely 100% important. Okay. All right, so moving on, I would say number 3 is take a serious look at your lifestyle. We can get away with doing whatever the fuck we want when we're in our 20s, go through college, even into your 30s, right? You can stay up all night. You can go on benders. You can drink as much as you want. You can eat anything you want for the most part, burn it all off, right? But now after 15, 20 years or so, you've got kids, a career, house, mortgage obligations, everything, right? You spent the last 10, 15 years or more sitting at a desk, driving to work, driving home from work, right? Sitting in meetings, right? They say sitting is the new smoking, and I believe it, okay? You have to look at your lifestyle. Like, is it conducive to being healthy and living till you're 90? Or are you going to, or not? I mean, seriously, like, look at that. Look at your life. I mean, I see this every day. Just go out anywhere, any store, any road, and you're going to see guys in their 30s and 40s that are in horrible shape, don't move well at all. They look like they're, 2 steps from death. Add in smoking, drinking, vaping, whatever the hell, just worse things, obviously. It's nuts. So look at your lifestyle. I mean, a lack of sleep is horrible for your health, right? If you're cutting yourself short of 7 hours or 8 hours of sleep, doing your body, I mean, it's really, really bad for your body. Being overly stressed, like in a constant state of stress where cortisol levels are continually high, it just fucks with your hormones. And I'm talking to the guys right now that have gone through a divorce or a custody battle, because I've been there both places. And yeah, there were months when I was in the thick of this where my stress was off the charts all day, all night. I couldn't sleep. I had to take sleeping pills just to get to sleep because I was so stressed out and worried and what if. And yeah, that messes with your body, its ability to, shed fat or gain muscle, heart health. I mean, it affects so many processes. If you're stressed out, it doesn't have to be that, but it could be financial stress is a big one, huge one. Marital stress, huge, right? Stress with something going on with your kids, your work. If you think you might lose a job, you have a recent, layoff, or maybe your parents are sick or something like that, right? A lot of ways to be stressed. But if you don't find an outlet to manage that, you're fucked. I mean, it's really that bad. And it terrifies me because I've thought in the past that I was going to have a heart attack due to stress. Like I felt like, oh my God, I'm going to fucking die. And it's a scary feeling. So, I don't ever wish that on anybody to have that type of feeling, but you have to find a way to manage it. And so whatever it is, I don't care if it's the gym, find a positive outlet for it. Typically some kind of physical activity works really well. I do that, I do a bunch of different things, but some people meditate. Some people do, hikes in nature or do, something outside. And some people what I'll do also is I'll sit, and when I drive, I put on Slayer, usually something like that, Testament. And I just turn the shit up. And that is a very strong release for me. That heavy, fast pounding music releases a lot of stress for me. I know it probably sounds like it probably adds to it, but it actually doesn't. So anyway, check your lifestyle. Absolutely, absolutely. Number 4, I've got 6 points here. So I will say number 4, and this is not exciting by any means, but as important as anything else is go to the doctor every year and get your blood work done, get your testosterone taken, right? Low T is a very real issue, right? There are things they can do, plenty of T replacement therapy. I mean, there's so much they can do, but a lot of guys are stubborn. I mean, myself included, I hate going to the doctors. My father, I learned from him and I shared this last week, but he's extremely healthy, 74 years old. His numbers are phenomenal when he does go. But he's always just taught me, indirectly, that doctors are for sick people, and he's never sick, and so he doesn't ever go to the doctor. So I kind of picked up on that, and that's kind of my motto is I hate going to the doctor. So I'm not alone in that, but it is important. You got to get your prostate checked. You have to get your numbers checked, your blood work. You never know. I mean, they found some weird shit in my body in the last few years, and yeah, it's a little bit scary. I've had some things removed from my skin, and I had a major surgery on my elbow. It was a huge tumor on my elbow. Well, actually not my elbow, but right above my elbow on my humerus bone. They removed a huge tumor, which had it been cancerous, would have killed me because I never had it checked. I just thought it was something else like a tennis elbow, even though it was in the wrong arm because I'm left-handed. But yeah, so go get your exams, get your blood work checked, check your numbers, and I think, I think it's safe to say that probably all of us are probably deficient in vitamins, minerals, nutrients, because the typical American diet sucks. So I'm not a huge fan of supplements across the board. I've talked about this a lot. I don't think we need them for the most part, unless you're really, at the kind of elite level of training or sports or whatever. The average guy, you and me, we don't need supplements other than, I would say, a high quality multivitamin and maybe some fish oil. Take a high quality capsule, not the hard tablets, because it doesn't assimilate as well. And spend a few more bucks to get something high quality just to replace and add some of those, vitamins and minerals, trace minerals, and things like that we're not getting from our diets. Even if you're eating really healthy, it's still, I would say, almost impossible. The RDA is pathetic. Don't worry about that. I think we just need to eat better foods and we need to take a multivitamin. I will also say, this is up there too, is reading your body. We're men. We have egos. We want to look good. We want to feel good. We want to strut our shit, right? The problem is our bodies can't do what they once did. Now, I don't want to hear everybody, age is a number. You can get, because I posted a video about this on YouTube and everyone came out of the woodwork. Oh, you're calling us old guys and, we're fine. And we can do everything we could, 20 years ago, blah, blah, blah. And, I'm living proof of this, right? I've been training consistently for 25 years or more, which is probably more than a lot of guys listening. And my body's still falling apart, and I've never beaten the shit out of it. I've done a lot of good things, healthy things for my body, but it's just wear and tear. It's time, right? It's stress. It's those periods that you spent when your kids were little where you got no sleep and you're crouched up in weird positions and you're hunched over the crib for an hour every night singing to them or trying to get them back to sleep. It's all of those things over time, they add up. I spent 11 and a half years sitting at a desk, working a desk job. My posture is not awesome. I've had to work on that constantly because my head comes forward, my shoulders roll forward, my chest, my pecs, super, super tight, my traps, super tight. I just had a sports massage last week and she said, yeah, you're a mess. Your traps are really, really tight. She said, your pecs and shoulders are really tight. And she said, out of a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being the worst I've ever seen, you're like a 7. And I stretch a lot. I do mobility every day. Like I just said, I just came off of a bender of 45 days straight with mobility, and still I'm at a 7. That's because I'm 48 years old, and I've been living a life that has, affected that for so long. And so imagine the average guy that hasn't done all those things and has not stretched for years, right? Your muscles don't know what the hell's going on. Those just the ligaments and tendons, all that stuff in there. So you have to realize that your body is not what it once was. And I'm not saying you can't have the body that you want at this age. You can. I mean, my body fat's down in the low teens. There's no reason that yours couldn't be, regardless of where you're at. You could look awesome. You could be jacked. You could have a six-pack, of course. All those things are possible, right? It's just our bodies don't function the same. Okay, so when we try to relive our glory days, like a lot of men do, I see this in the gym quite a bit, especially when I used to go to like a Gold's gym where there's a lot of knuckleheads in there and meatheads that were, ego-driven. Guys in their 30s and 40s, just beating the shit out of their bodies, doing shit that, in my opinion, is just not good for their body. And so don't do that. Use your head. Read your body. Seriously, check your ego at the door. That's huge. I wrote an article about this a while ago, but you have to check it. I don't give a shit and I go to the gym almost every day now, and I go to a gym where they have a lot of youth clinics and camps, not camps, but classes. And so there's a lot of kids in their teens, mid-teens, 13, 14, 15, 16 typically. And these kids aren't like super athletes for the most part. They're like regular kids. And a lot of them are, lifting weights that I'm lifting, and so I could look at that like, oh, damn, man, I must be a weakling, right? But I don't give a shit about that. I'm doing what's good for my body. I know my body well enough to know that if I do more, I'm going to put something at risk. Like I have I had tore my rotator cuff 20 years ago, and it doesn't have full range still. My other shoulder has some issues where a certain hand positions or a certain position on the bench hurts. So if I go too heavy, it hurts. So I keep it at a slightly lighter weight. And so I don't do things that hurt. I don't do things that I know could put my body in a compromising position or open it up for injury. And now I'm asking the same for you. So read your body. Like, don't just go into the gym and say, oh, this guy's doing this. He's running on the treadmill at 11 miles an hour. I mean, I could do that even though I haven't run in 16 years, right? No, you're going to hurt your hamstring, right? You're going to hurt your back. You're going to do something crazy like that. So check the ego at the door, ease into it. Like, seriously, if you can put your ego aside, come in if you're just getting started and just start on the floor. Bird dogs, planks, basic stuff, dead bugs, those types of movements. Yeah, it's not sexy. You don't look like a tough guy, but who cares, right? You're actually saving your body and you're doing the right thing by working into it, right? I do that shit all the time. I don't care what I look like. All right, I don't feel like an old man doing stuff, but that's going to prep your body for the stuff that you want to do, which is the pulls and the carries and the pressing, right? But you have to ease into it. It's so important, right? And, training to failure, like absolutely obliterating your body, absolutely not necessary at this age. It's even counterproductive. Yeah, when we're in our 20s, sure. I remember this program. Some of you may remember this. It was called Cybergenics Phase 1. I remember this little tiny blue manual. It was like this little book. And I ordered it. It had to be, God, I don't even know what year it was. Early 90s, maybe? And the whole principle behind it was training beyond failure. So you would literally just go to failure and then you would have someone help you and just continue to just pound your muscles. Yes. And of course, you just kill your body, right? You just tear those muscles down. And I did it and it was great. I mean, I got results and we can do those things, back when our testosterone is off the charts and our bodies seem to recuperate at, amazing rates. Wolverine, but now, that shit doesn't happen. I mean, you're opening a freaking jar and, you get a tweak in your shoulder and it hurts for a week. It's just shit we deal with, almost everybody I've spoken to that's anywhere in their 40s has aches and pains on some level that are just a constant. We just learn to live with them. And I've got a bunch of myself, and so again, this comes back to reading your body. All right. And the last thing I'll say is focus on how you feel and really pay close attention to your lifestyle and diet. Diet isn't specific to any age. It doesn't matter if you're 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, whatever. Your diet should be the same thing, right? You should be eating high quality foods. But just remember, right, back in the day when our metabolisms were off the charts and our body fat was low and we didn't have to do anything about it. Now, a lot of our body fats are up in the 20s, 30s, 40s even, right? On very unhealthy ranges, right? And you can't keep eating like you've been eating. You can't just come home, eat whatever's on the table, have whatever you have normally for breakfast, eat your office lunch, right? Because it's not working for you. Right? If you're fit and you're happy and you're doing all these great things, then that's awesome. But most of us aren't. So you have to make some kind of changes, right? You're just going to keep getting fatter. So, like I said in the beginning, you're going to let's just say you're dropping 3% of your muscle tissue every year, right? And you're not replacing it and you're just essentially just getting fatter. Let's say you're staying the same weight, right? You're just having more body fat, less lean muscle, right? Your body fat goes from 32 to 35 to 37 to 39. Over the course of 10 years, right? Now you're up over 40 and, you're in size, 46 pants. Like, you have to make some changes and you can't continue to just do the same things, right? You have to start making some modifications, and your diet is right up there with your training as far as level of importance, right? And you don't have to go crazy. And I talk about this all the time. If you follow my stuff, like I talk about this all the time, I'm like a broken record, but it's so true because all I fucking hear about is the carnivore diet, the keto diet, all this. I mean, I'm so tired of it. There's no best way to eat. Like, there's no magic cure in either one of those things, even though, I'll probably have to do a show on the carnivore, but, some big names are coming out, promoting this and talking about all the amazing results they're getting, and the blood work numbers are phenomenal. They've reversed diabetes and they lost 50 pounds and they're healthier than they've ever been, and blah, right? To me, it doesn't make any sense. Like, why would you not ever eat anything but meat, right? Just, not only does it sound terrible, even though I love meat, it just doesn't sound healthy. It doesn't sound good. And so, I'm not sold on that. And so all I'm saying is don't get caught up in any fancy diet. You don't need any of that. What you need just is to focus on quality, and you know what good foods are. You know what bad foods are. And, I'm not going to get into the whole conversation of good versus bad foods, or there are no good foods, there are no bad foods. There's just foods, right? And I disagree. Focus on the quality, as many foods as you can with one ingredient, okay? And then focus on quantity, right? You have to eat fewer calories than your body needs if you're going to lose weight. And again, this show, and really everything that I do, is focused on helping men in their, typically in their late 30s and 40s, lose weight, get fit, feel better, have more energy, right? Because that's the big issue. Most of us, like a vast majority of 40-plus-year-old men, have a significant amount of weight to lose. And once they do and add that muscle and really feel like their body is feeling like it should, life gets so much better. It really does. Like, you don't feel heavy. Like, and I've been there. I've felt terrible before, totally lethargic, no energy. And it sucks. And people go through their whole lives like that, and they don't even know how good their body's supposed to feel. They never get there. And that sucks. And I want to help with that. That's why I do what I do. It's because men need to live a better life, right? Because when you're fit, when you're healthy, when you're eating clean foods, your energy's up, you're clear in the mind, you're doing positive stuff for your body, for your mind every day, man, your life gets better. Seriously, you're more productive, you're a better husband, a better employee, and you're a better dad. I mean, ultimately, that's why we do this, right? For our kids. So I've said this before, you can't be the best father you're capable of being if you're not taking care of yourself. You can't, right? How many times have you seen someone, a man, just plodding, his head down, shuffling his feet in the store behind his wife and his 2 or 3 kids, right? He's dead inside. He's got nothing. I mean, he's beaten down. He's worn out. He's got no energy to keep up the fight, right? I've seen it a million times. I was that person years ago, and I can tell you that's no way to live, and it kills me when I see that. And I'm just saying that if you start making these things a priority, start taking care of your health and really make yourself a priority, your body will reward you. You will feel so much better. It really honestly translates to every area of your life, quality of relationships, quality of everything. And you just become a better person in general. And I honestly believe that, and I've seen it time and time again, and I feel so strongly about that. So please. So anyway, I hope this helped, guys. Please don't misunderstand any of what I've said for you can't do it because you're too old, or, you need to train like an old person and do chair exercises, or you need, none of that stuff. You can still, I train my ass off. I pull heavy sleds, I drag them outside, I do a lot of body weight stuff, I hang from trees, I do pull-ups, right? We can do all those things, but just use the things that I told you today to help you avoid injury and stay healthy. That's it, guys. I'll talk to you next week.
Thanks for joining us. And remember, if you want more information, check out the Fit Dad Basecamp group on Facebook. And don't forget to stop by fitdadnation.com. Until next time, keep kicking ass and taking the next step. You can do this, Dad.